Start.
Hello and good evening, everyone. I'm Tejas, and welcome to Biochar series number 12, number 12th session of Biochar series. This is being jointly organized by 2.0 Farms and Shekru TV. Anant and his team from Shekru Foundation, and with the help of our team at 2.0, we have been trying to bring you what biochar is and bring in various stakeholders in biochar. Shekru TV is an online extension program of Shekru Foundation, with which Shekru brings people that are doing exciting work and on ground in Indian agriculture. It's been mostly in Marathi so far, but with Biochar series, Shekru has started its English content. And now, 2.0 Farms and Shekru TV have come together to present you Biochar series, and this is the 13th episode session in this series, and we have had a lot of introductory sessions on what biochar is, how to use it, what are its properties, all the way from meeting various stakeholders. And today, although I have interacted more with his co-founder, KK, it's a pleasure to bring in Adrien from Circonomy to all of you. Circonomy has been pioneering artisanal biochar production in India, and I believe a few other places outside India also, if I'm not wrong. And today we have Adrien joining us to take us through their journey, how they heard about biochar, what they do, and, and a lot about Circonomy and its team and work. So without further ado, welcome all to 13th session of Biochar series, jointly organized by Shekru TV and 2.0 Farms. And I leave the platform to Adrian. Adrian, welcome.
Thank you, just for the nice intro. Really happy to be here. Thank you very much for 2.0 Farm on Shellcrew TV for organizing that. Let me share my screen walk through our story at Circonomy, how we started and on what we build. So I believe you can see my screen now.
Yes, it's audible. It's
Okay,
visible,
perfect,
and you are perfect.
perfect. Yeah. In those 30 minutes, I will really try to explain how we started, what we do at Economy, and why we believe that the approach that we have to biochar as a carbon removal solution is both impactful and unique. So I will walk you the journey, the technology, the ecosystem that we are building, and I hope to be able to give you an idea of on how it all comes together to create high integrity, community-driven biochar projects. So about our journey, we started really early 2023, so almost 3 years ago, with a clear mission, which was to build a trust in biochar as a carbon removal technology. So leveraging on the transparency, the collaboration, so partnership, and the technology. Each time that I'm speaking about the technology, I really refer to the digital platform, the dMRV that we've built. So a lot of folks actually think that Circonomy is a biochar producer, but we are not only a biochar producer. We really have two verticals in the company. So developing biochar projects, starting with artisanal, but we have also this technology platform that enable to connect with carbon market and do the traceability. So in 2023, we developed our first small scale project. We launched our first, it was the initial version of the dMRV. Last year, so issuance of the first credit. So we are certified with CSI Carbon Standard International, following the global artisan saying. Our tool is also endorsed by CSI. And we have expanded our network across India. So now present in 6 different states with 15 different production sites. So we are in a way creating hubs of biochar across India. all under the same single group certification with CSI. And our vision, our ambition is to build a network of 1 megaton capacity by 2030, by end 2030. So through our expansion in India, but also beyond India in other regions. So I'll come back later on that. And so we believe that we can achieve this big number, 1 megaton of CDR capacity, by leveraging on the untapped opportunity laying on the smallholder farmers at the global level. You have millions of tons of crop residue. I believe that we all know that now, that are not finding valorization scheme and that are burnt every year. So what we try to do at Circonomy is to provide the tools, the technology, the knowledge. So in every community, in every village, we can have those biochar hub. So what is a biochar hub for us? It's kind of a community-led center or a centralized mid-sized facility where biomass residue are available or are gathered from different places, and where we'll transform the biochar with a dedicated team who has been trained, who knows the process pretty well, who knows how to use our technology, and then the biochar is redistributed back to the same neighborhoods farms where the feedstock originated. So it is designed to keep both the nutrients, the carbon in the local soil, to create a circular flow that benefits farmers, that benefits the community, that strengthens the resilience of the food system and generate a long-term climate impact. So each hub in that model is both a production site, but also a knowledge sharing platform that supports farmers, communities, NGO, any partners in our network to turn what was once waste into a resource, into an opportunity. So by connecting those nodes, those hubs into a learning network, every site will benefit from all the data that we gathering, from all the experience from the network.
Adrien, can I interrupt you for a second? I think your head is coming. I think we tried that and we didn't remove it. You want to reshare it and you take your head off the screen?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because
No
it's
problem.
blocking your
Sorry
images.
about that.
No, sorry to interrupt you, but I thought we.
No, thank you
Sorry.
for that.
Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt your train of thought, but I think it was putting your head in front of really good graphics, and I don't think you want that.
Okay, so
Because in the share, yeah, there we go.
now I think that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so thank you very much for Anand for that.
Yeah.
So I was saying that so we are building those hubs or those biochar nodes and connecting them actually. Every site, every hub is connected, and they can benefit from shared data, from shared experience. So it helps the whole network to improve its efficiency, to raise the biochar quality at the next level, and that's actually raising the operational performance higher over the time, and ensuring that we have a consistent production also across the entire network. And obviously we are not building that alone, right? We need partnership. We need so we are creating strategic partnership that will combine our skills, so the complementary skills of Circonomy and those local organizations. What we expect from our partners, it's really to the long-term access to unused biomass. We need to make sure, because what we are building, it's not just a community of biochar producer, but it's also a connection to the carbon markets. So when our buyers want to purchase carbon credits that are generated through our networks, they want to make sure that if they purchase a certain amount this year, they will be able to continue purchasing the same amount or or more months the year after. So the long-term access to unused biomass is really critical. It's also very important that there is a deep connection into the agricultural local ecosystem to make sure that the biochar will be back to the soil, right? It has no value if we just produce biochar and create piles of biochar without benefiting the agricultural system. And then it's their capacity to implement our production process, their capacity to diffuse the knowledge that we share with them. On our side, Circonomy, what we ensure it's a strict adherence to the processes, to the compliance with the carbon standards that we are using. It's also the connection, thanks to our technology, to the carbon market, making sure that any biochar, 1 ton of biochar that is produced in our network will generate a certain amount of carbon credit and will be registered. So the carbon finance can then flow back and benefit the project, the community. Yeah, so that's about how we work. And so we believe that the unicity of that model, it's really this combination of the technology and the partnership, right? The technology will act as the backbone of the model, connecting all stakeholders. So when I meet all stakeholders, it's not only Circonomy and its partners or the farmers, but it's also the VVBs, so the certifier standards, and the buyers of carbon credits. So this digital layer, it's ensure rigorous compliance, but also creates the trust and unlock operational excellence across the network. Yeah, so this one, so it's about designing biochar hubs, right? So before explaining or teaching or sharing our experience, we have worked on our first production site. So we have lived the experience first. We have learned from designing, implementing a biochar production site. We've made mistakes, and we want to avoid newcomers to do the same mistake, so they can really implement smoothly the project. So being able to to learn from the field. So we understand now the daily production realities. So beyond just the carbon tracking, it's about identifying the operational challenges, identifying what are the critical steps in the operation from a carbon credit perspective, but also from a purely biochar production perspective, and be able to identify also the potential pitfalls, if I may say that. The second aspect that it allows us, it's really to build the confidence in the system, right? We know that our design, our implementation process is robust, it's replicable. We've done that across multiple sites in India and beyond. And we know also that it's secure against errors or manipulation. And finally, all this experience on being on the field, it's what helps us to develop our digital dMRV, integrating really the real world insights to guarantee the transparency, to guarantee the traceability, and to guarantee more for the project developer, the operational excellence. So today, our model really leverage on this experience and deliver simple, smooth, and reliable setup for Biochar Hub, where Circonomy provides the design and implementation support. We provide the knowledge sharing, so I'll come back to that later with our hands-on training, and obviously the technology. For our partners, it means that they really can focus on their cooperation while adding the biochar intervention seamlessly into their value chain. And so now in terms of experience, so our main country is still India, but we are present in different countries, so more than 10 countries globally, and we have experience with roughly 20 different feedstock. So yeah, I was speaking about the knowledge sharing, being able to to share our experience, to be able to work on the capacity building with communities or with future project developers. So when we are doing that, our goal is really to equip our partners with the knowledge, with the skills, and obviously with the technologies that they need to produce a high quality biochar and achieve, the consistency or the quality we want in our network. So this goes really beyond sharing production process. It's really about transferring a collective experience that we learn each time that we set up a new biochar hub. And that way the partners really become owner of the biochar production journey. So in terms of what we include in our hands-on training. So hands-on training, it's a couple of days. We are on site. We help the partners to set up the kiln. We produce a couple of biochar batch together each time, trying to give them some tips on things like this. So it's about the biochar fundamental, right? Understand what is biochar, what are the benefits into the agriculture, the role as a solution for the climate, and we try always to find with our partners what is really the local specificity, right, in the biochar application. Then comes the full production workflow. So really, when we produce as many batch as needed to make sure that they really master the process from the biomass selection to how to operate a kontiki to the biochar application. Then yeah, there is a operational excellence, so it's all the tips and techniques that is really important that they have in mind to have a process that is as clean, as efficient, and as reproducible as possible. And the last piece of our training, it's really critical part. It's the usage of the monitoring system and the quality control that comes with it. So our product really come into two pieces. You have a smartphone when you're on the field doing the operation to record data, but also to have proof of the biochar production, carbon removal activity. And you have the platform where you will be able to track the production, to have access to carbon metrics, and that's that way that we can guarantee very rigorous process on the compliance to carbon standards. So at the end of this session of knowledge transfer, our partners, they really become the true owner of the process. They are able to apply the best practice without us, so really independently, and we really hope that they can then diffuse this knowledge into their own network. Yeah, so about the dMRV technology, so I'll show you just after what it looks like. The smartphone to collect the data throughout the process. So mainly you have a 5 steps, sorry, the biomass collection. Then you will prepare the biomass, do your firing, you collect the biochar that is mixed with either compost, manure, whatsoever. So inoculation to really have all the benefits into the agriculture, and then you apply it to the soil. Our system is, all those data, they are captured through smartphone or IoT device, and then go to the platform where we have a first level of verification. So it's internally Circonomy who validate each single batch coming into the system. We can reject some batch when the processes are not followed, or we think that there is a gap into the compliance. And the data is then pushed to Carbon Standard International for the last validation on issuance. So maybe I can stop here the presentation and share. This is the dashboard. So what I want to show, it's really about let's take an example on try to see a full batch. So I'll take here an example from one partner in Namibia, where actually they selectively remove some invasive species, trying really to working with this ant crush bush. That is really a problem in Namibia. Because I mean that's a problem for the environment, for the wildlife, and so on. So selectively removing some of them improves that aspect. And the objective of Perivoli, our partners there, turning that into biochar, it's also to be able to regenerate the rangeland, the grassland that was in Namibia before. So when you see, so here we are on one batch that has been recorded. So it was in June this year. And what you can see, so you have all the information about the producer, so the biochar hub, if you want. The feedstock that has been used, so it's invasive species, and carbon content of the biochar that has been produced, so roughly 70% here. Then you have the emission, CO2, methane that have happened along the process. So it's all about the transportation, if there was some mechanized equipment to shred the biomass and so on. And the methane emission are the unavoidable emission during the firing in the kontiki. Then production time, the kontiki that has been used, the biomass that has been used, so the weight of the biomass, biochar produced, and this batch generated at the end of the day 0.6 carbon credits. So that's the key information that we have, and we have then really the traceability. So you'll see all 5 different steps that are the key step of the biochar production. Everything is a geotag and timestamp, so we know from where it's coming to where the biochar has been applied. So you see on the picture, so you have the information that has been captured when the picture has been taken. Here it's the feedstock that has been gathered. Then we select the feedstock and we check the moisture content of the feedstock. So here it's a very dry area, so you see 0 on the moisture meter. It's really dry biomass. It's make really nice firing for the biochar. Next step is the biochar production. So for those who are really familiar with producing biochar in a kontiki, going through those picture or video, you will really recognize all those steps. So here the stacking of the feedstock in the kiln, lighting from the top of the stack, and then a couple of videos about the process. So monitoring of the temperature, quenching, and at the end of the process, it's really about measuring how much biochar we produce. So for that, we use different type of containers, and all that is obviously recorded into the dMRV. So the volume will determine with the carbon content how much credit you will generate throughout the process. So actually, the number of batch and the number of containers that has been filled, all the information is available here. So if you count the number of containers, it's exactly what is on the pictures. Mixing and then the application of the biochar. So you have the full process that is here, and all the batch that are produced on every single biochar hubs are recorded into this system. So it's actually connecting all stakeholders. The local operators can really track what's happening on this site. Us, Circonomy, we can really verify everything. You see that there is a kind of approval of the batch, so we can approve or reject. And the same data are accessible by the carbon standard, and will make that accessible to the buyers of the the project too. Yeah, maybe a last thing that I wanted to show you. So as a producer, so let's stay on the same site. I guess that this one. So when you are manager of a site, so you will have all your information. So who are the operators that can operate on your site? You can define the different technology or kilns that are used on your site. So the big kiln was the one that we saw previously on the badge. So it's recorded here. You have all the information about the matrix of the kiln, and you can really customize that to your kiln. So the kiln to your project, the kiln, the containers that you are using, everything about the sampling of the biochar, vehicles that you are using. This is important when you calculate the emission of the transportation of the feedstock, of the distribution of the biochar. So yes, I guess that's what is interesting in this platform, and I wanted to share. Let's come back to the presentation. And yeah, as I was saying at the beginning, I mean, the technology, it's one part, but it's really the combination of the technology and the partners that create this, I believe, the quality and the strength of our network. So we started in India. We grow outside of India now, but if we really focus on what we are building in the Indian ecosystem, so we have partners like Agrinet, Beetlewage, Matera, Net Zero, that help us actually to tell different stories. Because when you speak with carbon credit buyers, that's not just a carbon removal credit that they want to buy. That's also a story. So you need to tell a stories. You need really to convince them that your project stands out compared to any others, right? So each of our partners are really something unique, and we can tell a story about their specific action on the impact that they are creating locally each time. So for instance, with Agrinet, so it's a project that is in the Himalayas. There is a big emphasis on the gender equality, really interesting project, and they reclaim actually farmland from invasive species. Now, when it's come to Beetlewage and Matera, they are more focusing on organic farming on the cotton value chain. So really interesting when we are discussing with buyers that are from the textile industry. And finally, Net Zero is more focusing on the rice value chain on the orchard. So yeah, that's really, I believe, something strong in what we are building with this backbone that is the technology bringing the transparency and this unicity of each partner bringing each of them a different biochar story. So to wrap up, we are building a trusted, transparent, and scalable ecosystem for biochar-based carbon removal, and that's really combining the technology, the partners, and the community that makes that possible. So thank you very much, and happy to answer any question.
That's awesome. Thanks a lot, Adrien. That's quite a journey you've shared with all of us, and it's really nice to look at the technology platform as well. And you're taking us through the production of this one sample in with the particular kiln, and the feedstock was very good. Looking at all the steps. For all the viewers, this is going live various places. I forgot to tell it this session. If you have any questions, please drop the question in the comment section, whether you are watching it on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, or directly here on Zoom. And Bibishan will help us bring the questions to me, and I and Anand will be asking the questions to Adrien. Adrian, that's wonderful. I had a few questions. Which 6 states are you currently active when in talking India, and how does the production look there? We're just very curious there.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I'm not sure that I will be able to pronounce correctly the 6 states, but
No
I mean
worries.
mostly what you have to keep in mind is we are present in the cotton belt and the Himalayas, right? So that's really about it. The cotton belt actually it's making maybe 90% of our production. We started from the cotton stack as a feedstock. What is important when we select a feedstock and we say yes to our partners, let's work with that. It's to make sure that at least in the region where they operate, there is no alternative use for the feedstock. So it's really unused, and it was mostly burned or left to decay before, right? We don't want to divert a feedstock from another usage that could have value. So sometimes we are asked if feedstocks that were used for animal feed can be used in our project. That's not something that we want to do, because if you do that, you need to find another feedstock for the animals. Same if it's for going for energy production, even though we can have some exceptions, but yeah, the idea it's really let's first focus on that. On the cotton, sack was really something that was widely available, easy to dry. So when you have to go through this drying process, making sure that your feedstock is as dry as possible, so you can have efficient operation that you can prove that you reduce as much as possible the methane emission occurring during the pyrolysis. We first selected cotton stack.
Wonderful. So, which is the feedstock in the Himalayas? Is it pine needles or something else?
No, it's an invasive species.
Okay, the one that you
Camara,
should.
yeah.
Okay, wonderful. So, Anand, I have just two, three questions. I'll run with them, and maybe you can jump in that, Anand. Uh, how does the production side team composition look like? What's the number of people that go into one artisan pro
Mm-hmm.
location, and how big the team looks like, and what's the composition, roles, and responsibilities? I was very curious to learn.
Sure. I mean, all hubs are a bit different, but if let's take an average site, roughly we have four to six kiln, and for one kiln we expect to have 1 to 2 people operating, right? So I mean the ratio is, let's say, 1.5 people per kiln on
Okay.
average. So that's really the kilns operator. There are dedicated staff for producing the biochar. They really master the process. And we have people from the communities, field workers who help in preparing the feedstock, that help in packaging the biochar.
And how tough is this space getting with with the feedstock being seasonal, moisture being a thing, and drying being a important aspect, not having sunshine all year long? How do you see what are the challenges that you see in artisanal process?
Mhm. So yeah, you're totally right. That's a huge challenge. When you operate under the tropic, you really have to deal with the moisture, with the seasonality of the crops and so on. So for the moisture of the feedstock, so we have processes to try to reduce as much as possible the feedstock. So it's just about the storage of your feedstock, about sun drying the feedstock, making sure that you can cover it when you have rains, and obviously we cannot produce all year long, right? So roughly starting in May, we reduce the production. Right now, nothing is happening. There is no production on most of the sites, and it will start again maybe in November or December when we have access again to the feedstock.
How do you assign different tasks to the team during this time, and how do you manage it? Is it a seasonal workforce or is it a
So that
year-long
is,
work?
yeah, that's, I mean, the sites that are seasonal like this, it's really seasonal workforce. Now
Wonderful.
in India, I don't think that we were able to do that, but in other geographies, when we don't have the same challenge with the moisture, with the weather, with the seasonality of the crop, we are able to have all year long production. So meaning that we have really this dedicated staff
Yes.
that is here throughout the year. And So actually, the thing not to be able to produce all year long is one of the challenge we have with buyers of carbon credit, because they would like to have, regular deliveries, quaternally or monthly or whatsoever. And we are not able to do that from our site in India. But consolidating a global network, we make sure that we are able somewhere else to, produce. So we have a constant production throughout the year.
It's interesting. I had two other questions before Anthony jump in. I saw in one of your video and you mentioned in a big kontiki you just put the stack and then you are lighting from top of the stack. And I just wanted to learn if there is any experience behind doing that as the initial stack, because so far when I produce biochar, I use the bottommost stack, maybe some hay or smaller sticks, light that up and then put things on top. But here the initiation was toplet burned down, and then I think you are putting the further feedstock. So I just wanted to see if there is any reason that is coming from experience.
Yeah, so 3 years ago, we didn't know anything about biochar, about low-tech technology on how to start things. So actually, all what we've learned at the beginning, it's KK who learns that on the field with some partners. It's also connecting with the guys from Carbon Standard International, Ithaca Institute. By the way, Ithaca Institute, they have a very great video on how to use a kontiki on the internet. I guess it's now maybe 9 or 12 years old, so there is nothing new, right? So we just use what was available and was other guys was doing very great. But in terms of the process, the idea it's really to to think about the physics and the science behind what we are doing and make sure that we are as much as possible into a pyrolysis process and that we minimize the emission. So the thing lighting from the top is part of it, but it's really minor at the beginning. What is important after it's how you layer the feedstock into the kiln and make sure that all the layers that are below, they have as low oxygen as possible, and they are really continue carbonizing when you continue to add new layers into the kiln. And the flame curtain is really here to burn the thing, so you release as less possible as methane into the atmosphere.
Makes sense. And do you see the tech moving here? I mean, do you see any progression from a kontiki to a small size retorts, maybe for a few feedstocks in the future? And after that, how does the team at Circonomy look like? How is the composition of it? Those are my last questions, and then probably will jump in with a lot more.
So yeah, definitely. I mean, for us, on from the beginning when we started, the idea was not to stay focused on artisan. We saw artisan, the kontiki kiln, as an ideal design to be able to kickstart a project without a lot of capital, and we use that as a technology to de-risk the approach. So because 3 years ago when we started, there was no way that we come into with a partner or connecting with a community and say, okay, guys, we'll start applying biochar everywhere, right? So there was no way that we built a multi-million-dollar facility and produce a huge amount of feedstock. So starting with this low tech help really to diffuse the technology, to diffuse the knowledge, and slowly spread the biochar utilization. So with this idea of biochar hub, when you have a community who start using a decent amount of biochar, that makes sense to meet investors and say, okay, guys, I would like to invest into a mid-sized facility because I will improve my process. I can ensure that I have no more methane emission and so on. But I already have the offtake of the biochar. I have already secured the supply chain, and I have carbon credit buyers. So actually, there is no more risk. So that's really the next step, and we are already working on that. We are in the even more than the feasibility stage. I mean, we have started working on our first industrial plan that will come probably beginning of next year.
So amazing.
You spoke about
Yeah, I
the
asked how
team
your team,
composition.
and I wanted to put it out there that it was refreshing to see someone actually be grounded and talk about megaton for a change on the thing. So that's realistic, and that's challenging but realistic for a artisanal uh, movement in a way. So I wanted to mention that, and yes, I would love to learn more about the team, what it's comprised of at Circonomy right now.
So yeah, I mean the team. So we try to have something that is really balanced in terms of skills, because I mean we need different type of skills, right? We need people who are able to go on the field, have this interaction with our partners, share the knowledge about how to produce the biochar in a kiln, but we need also um, engineers who are able to conduct a life cycle analysis, who are able to conduct a technical economic model when we are moving to something that is more industrialized, right? And that can deal with carbon credit standards and so on. And finally, a really important part in the team is the tech capabilities, right? So, I mean, KK, my co-founder, is coming from the software industry, so he's really bringing this knowledge, and we are working with a couple of software engineers to be able to build this robust system.
Wonderful. Anant, any question?
Yeah, before I, ask the questions, I just want to open the floor and see if anybody wants to ask a question here in Zoom. You can unmute yourself and ask the question. Anybody has a question, please do ask. आपको हिंदी में कुछ सवाल पूछना है तो पूछ सकते हैं, हम लोग इंग्लिश में ट्रांसलेट कर सकते हैं. जो यूट्यूब, फेसबुक और लिंक्डइन में सुन रहे हैं वो भी हिंदी में कुछ टाइप करना चाहते हैं तो कर सकते हैं, हम लोग ट्रांसलेट कर सकते हैं, प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. Anybody, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask a question, those who are present in Zoom at any point. Till that time, I'll start asking the questions that I have, Adrien. Adrien, thank you so much for showing the life cycle in some sense through the various screens. The question that I had was looking at, if you can share the screen again, there was a question on biomass kg and biochar liters. This might be a bit of a dumb question, so I don't understand how the kgs became liters, because the biochar is still solid. So how are you measuring it in liters? Yeah, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I can share the screen again. Let's go back to the oh, yeah. Don't remember. Oh yeah, that was Perigoli I shared. So yeah, you have the biomass quantity that is measured in kg. So here you have 1 ton, and the biochar quantity that we've measured after that are in liters. So the thing is, when you are operating with a kontiki, at the end of the process, you have to quench the biochar. So meaning that to cool it down and to really enhance the properties of the biochar, you add water into the kiln. So when you empty the kiln, your biochar is still very wet and full of water, right? So if you wet the biochar at this stage, actually you will over credit what you are doing. So we can't measure it using the weight. So we use the volume instead.
Okay.
Because when we add, our biochar is we always send it to laboratories to analyze its property, to know the carbon content and so on. And one of the parameters that we analyze too, it's the bulk density. So the volume and the bulk density will give us the weight of the biochar, because the volume, its wet or dry will be the same. So that's the reason why we are measuring in volume.
Okay, and then the short-term carbon sink, what does that mean? I mean, I don't understand that.
I guess that's not really I mean, I didn't mention it because I guess it's more confusing than something else. But basically, in your biochar, you have the permanent part of the biochar, right? That is stable for hundreds, thousands of years.
Right.
And you have a part that will decay over time, that is less stable, and that we call the semi-persistent carbon fraction. So this part is not accounted as a tradable long-term carbon sink. So really, when we speak about the C-Sync unit with Carbon Standard International, that's this part. So it's just 75% of the biochar that you produce. The 25% short sink, they are not, they can be traded, but not as a long-term sink.
I see. And the methane also, is it, you say emission CO2 and methane, or is it just, are you measuring methane emission as well here? Is that a formula, or are you actually measuring it in some form?
No, here until now we are measuring. I mean, we are using a formula that is in the standard. So in the standard, it says that it's backed by science. You have scientific publication that has been done on that, and CSI use a conservative value of 30 kg of methane for each ton of biochar that is produced. So for now, I mean, in the dMRV, we have this value that is also by default. Now you have some technologies that are accredited or endorsed by and that can prove that they have much lower emissions than that. So we can use that and will be credited a lower value of methane for those technologies.
Okay. And when I see the mixing, because we also do mixing with vermicompost, here you have said you use solid manure. Is there a ratio that you mix? I mean, if that's, secret, that's fine. You don't need to say it, but, we do 50-50. So 1,300 liters then becomes, half of that, right? And
Yeah.
then, when you apply to the soil, is there a ratio you're applying with? Because you also have the application portion here.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, thank you for the question. So actually, we are not doing the same thing on each site. We believe that it's really a science, right, to have the right ratio and the right property of your matrix to mix with the biochar. So Circonomy, as a manager of various sites, we really take the carbon credit angle to that. Which say, okay, we have two things to do. It's one, making sure that the biochar will not be burned again. So that's where the 1:1 ratio is really important, because when it's mixed with so much compost or so much manure, there is no way that the biochar will be used as a fuel. And that also the approach of CSI when they are saying that, doing that. That if you use at 1:1 ratio, you can actually stop tracking the biochar here, because we know it will go back into the agricultural system. Now, if you use a different ratio and you use much more biochar than manure, for instance, that means that there is no certainty that the biochar will benefit to the agricultural system or will not be burned. So that's why you have to really track the biochar through the dMRV until the end location when it's really applied.
Okay. All right.
So
Yeah.
last part of the answer, it's really we expect our partners to have an agronomist or to be able to be responsible for what is the right matrix, what is the right ratio to make sure that it's really have the most impact locally.
But do you track that in the application here, or do you say that is outside the purview of this and I'm not interested because it's gone to the soil? That's all I care. I don't need to know beyond that. Is that some?
So we have some sites where it's mixed and we know that we have the right ratio. So and it's so diffuse that there is no way we can track everything, right? So we can stop here that's compliance
Okay.
with the standard. And you have some sites. So here we have the application location, right? You know where it has been applied, when it has been applied. So that's really depending on the local context, on what really is the process locally.
All right. Just want to turn to the audience and say if you have any questions, please do unmute yourself and ask. Bibishan, are there any questions? Before I go to further question stages, feel free to jump in if you have a question. Anybody wants to ask a question, please unmute yourself and ask. किसी को सवाल पूछना है तो आप unmute करके पूछिए. All right. So next question I have is 3 certifications you have listed on your website. You talked about CSI, Carbon Standards International. Does Puro Earth and Verified Carbon Standards also come into this, picture, and how different are they? Do they also recognize kontiki or they don't?
So actually, the website we built it 3 years ago, and it has almost never been updated. So it's not really reflecting exactly what we are doing today, or who we are working with. So we do work with CSI. CSI has endorsed our technology. Puro, we started working with them because we have this industrial facility that is coming. So yes, we are working with Puro, and we are also now we have connected the dMRV to isometric platform.
Okay.
So yeah, the idea for us is really because building this network will not do that just with kontiki, will not do that just with CSI. Each project is a bit specific, and so in terms of standards and in terms of technology, equipment, pyrolysis equipment or gasification equipment, we need also to diversify our approach. So on that aspect, our objective is to progressively work with more of them, and at the end of the day, being able to be agnostic.
Okay. Now, you just talked about a little bit of industrial, that you are evolving to that. My question is there a middle point where you can do mobile batch units, like, what another company does? They take it behind a tractor, the batch kiln, and they, take it to fields and all that. Have you thought about that as a mid step before you go industrial? Or do you see that eventually I get out of kontiki and move towards that as something which is an option for the fields?
I mean, that's a good question, but we really believe that we need a portfolio solution.
Okay.
So that's not because we are moving to, we are developing our first industrial site that we are leaving behind the kontiki. We'll continue to work with the kontiki. That is really a powerful tool to kickstart a project in a new geography or in a very rural area. And you have some mid-tech solution in between, right? That are mobile or like the Takachar unit or things like this. And you have some ecosystem, some agricultural ecosystem that really need this type of technology. So it just depending on where we start new hubs, on what our local partners need, but we'll play with a portfolio of technologies from kontiki to larger industrial facilities.
I see. And going back to the artisanal slash operator, I mean, you talked about training and all that, and Tejas also asked a question on that a little bit. My question is, how long does it take for an artisan to be good at kontiki? I mean, is it, do you have a number that, 30 burns, this guy or woman should be very good, or, 50 burns, or, 10 burns? Because when I do it with my farmers, we get into ash rather quickly. And, I've been struggling with that. So, just any insight you can offer that, I'm going to take, at least, 30, 40 burns in the kontiki before he gets or she gets any good.
Unfortunately, I don't have an answer to that because it's depending a lot also about the willingness of the operators to learn and to really understand. Because actually, one of the lessons that we learned from the beginning, it's actually we come and we learn how to we teach how to make a fire, right? So this approach we have to really try to find another angle to explain it on explain that we don't want to do a a classical fire, but what we want to do is really to maximize the quality of the biochar and so on. And that has some climate benefits. And if we are not respecting all the steps in the process, so you have less biochar, so you have less carbon benefits, so you earn less at the end of the day. So when the connection is done between the amount of carbon credits and the quality of the process, that's where we start to see a faster learning curve.
But when we are seeing a lot of people now on the ground promising these payouts for credits, where do you say that, okay, I don't want to promise too much? I mean, I have a fixed credit that I will get as a payout for these guys, because also the carbon credit costs change over time in the marketplace. So my question is, you use that as a motivation, but is there a risk that, I mean, is it guaranteed, that payout? And what time are you saying? Because we are seeing a lot of people say a lot of things on the fields right now, and we're very afraid that that could backfire because some people may not be able to deliver.
Yep. So the first thing is, so when you build a network, if you take too many communities or hubs in your network, you really need to have a huge buyers or network of buyers that will offtake that amount of credit. Or you have a lot of capital because you raise some capital first to be able to build your network. But you have to work then with the buyers to make sure that the capital will continue to flow on a yearly basis, right? So that's one of the challenges. So I guess it's important to be a bit I mean, not to spread or to grow too big too fast. You really have, because you need to keep this trust with your partners. So if the carbon money is not, flowing back to the community or to your partners, that's a risk for you.
Yeah, yeah. So, what is the psychology when you see with the artisans? Is it with more women are better burners or men? I mean, what are you seeing with group psychology? Are you seeing any psychological patterns that can be useful for others when they approach, a setup like this?
So I mean, we have different. So for instance, on the project with AgriNet, 90% of the jobs there are reserved for women, right? So they are really involved into that project, and that make also a very nice story when we speak to buyers. Uh, but so I mean, it's not a question on which I believe all the answers. So maybe it would be better to speak with Keke about that because he's really the one that is present locally on the operations.
Okay, so the PPE that people wear, I mean, have you designed any specific PPE that you feel, is something which you need to enforce? Or what is your thought on that? Because a lot of people I work with, the farmers are very lax about it. They don't want to wear PPE. They're like, hey, it's too hot. I don't want to do it.
Yeah,
The concept of safety is still, it's a challenge that we're keeping.
yeah. So there is definitely a barrier with the earrings, the PPEs, and it's in any, not any, but most of the country where we've done the trainings, that's often an issue. But so what we recommend, what we want on our project, it's actually that you have a protection for the eyes, for the face and the chest, and of course the hands for the operators, right? That's really basic principle, but that's really important because you have very high temperature. So you have we really want to have safe operation. Now, most of, at least at the beginning, most of the operators say, no, I don't need that. It's already too hot and so on. But when you wear your protection, actually, you are protected from the heat. So it's cooler inside than without, right? So the challenge is to make them understand that.
Right, right, right. Okay, I have one more question. If somebody is watching this and they have a self-help group or a farmer producer organization, would you be willing to work with such entity? What exactly are you looking for on the ground as partners to work with? What is
Yep.
Circonomy looking for?
So we are, that was what I said, what we are looking for when we do partnership. So we want to have the guarantee that there is unused feedstock that is here for multiple years, right? It's not just an amount of feedstock that is here for this year and we have no guarantee for next year. The second aspect is really we want to make sure that this biochar will benefit the local agricultural system, right? So we take the feedstock from let's say 10 to 30 kilometers around the biochar production site. It should remain within those 10 to 30 kilometers. So it's really a local circular model. So yeah, that's really the access to the farmers and being able to have this trust with farmers when it's not a community where the biochar has already been used. We need to make sure that we'll be able to apply the biochar, right? Because at the end of the day, so that's how we make impact, but it's also how we generate credits. And two last things. So it's one is about the capacity of implementing our processes, because we are a bit stringent on the processes. So that's more a discussion, I guess, between KK, the local team, on our partners, and the possibility for us to tell a story, so to communicate on this specific project. Does the project has really something unique, specific, that will differentiate from other partners in our network, and so we can promote that project also to our network of buyers.
But as part of the storytelling, are you including the water credit, biodiversity credit, or anything of that point at that thing at this point, or is it something in the future that you're keeping an eye on?
Today we are focusing on the carbon removal credit. That's I mean, we are still a small team. We cannot be everywhere on tracking all the parameters. But sure, at some point, being able to at least, even if it's not certified, monitor the co-benefits and highlight what makes this project unique. That's part of what we try to do.
Yeah. Okay. So if an FPO, can they get a pre-assessment done from Circonomy that there is scope to do this project ahead? Do you do pre-assessments with people?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, definitely. We have we do pre-assessment. We have an online questionnaire where we have a list of question to really pre-assess the project to see if there is an opportunity. Then if we feel that there is something interesting, we'll do the assessment on if we find a way to do this partnership. So Circonomy is really integrating the project with the processes and so on into his network. We come on site, do the implementation of the project, teach how to use the kontiki, teach how to use our dMRV, stay the time that we need to make sure that the partners now really master the process, and we start the production.
So if I were to just want your dMRV services, is that possible? I mean, would you offer that as an offering? And if you do, how will you do it? Is it per artisan license, or how does it work?
So if you are part of our network, actually you have access to the dMRV. Now we have partners who don't want to be part of our network. They want to be their own, session managers themselves, and really take care about everything. So the relation with the farmers, the relation with Carbon Standard International, the relation with the buyers. But they lack the technology. So we are offering the technology to other project developers, right? So our technology is really used, in Africa, in South Asia, in Southeast Asia, by a lot of other biochar project developers.
So the licensing model will be based on the site or based on the number of kilns, or how does it work? Just top.
It's an annual fee, right? A license fee, and then it's a per credit that is registered.
Oh, okay. All right. Last question, I promise. On your website, I can buy carbon credits. Is that something like an individual I can go and buy credit? How does that work? I mean, are you a marketplace as well now? I mean, I got confused a little bit. So can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, no, so as I said, the website is not updated, so we are working on that. It will be revamped very soon, but you can still purchase credit through our website. We've done that at the beginning because when we started, we didn't connect it with a lot of marketplaces, and it was kind of easier for us to make that thing live and yet people paying the carbon credit directly. Right now, I would say that most of the credits that we are selling is directly, I mean, through our own network. Even though we are listed on maybe 6 or 8 marketplaces now, but yeah, we sell our credit ourselves. So it's corporation, so they are not going through our website. They are negotiating the credit first and so on. But we have a couple of individuals here who really like what we are doing on support through the website. So
Okay.
if you want that's working, you you can support
I
our
just was
project.
gonna, hack around. But thank you, Adrien. Thank you so much. If anybody is watching has any questions, please unmute yourself and ask. Anybody have any questions? Bibishan, is there any question from YouTube, Facebook, or any other social media? Bibishan?
So there's one, yeah,
Okay.
there's one
Go
from
ahead. Yeah,
Mithilesh.
yeah.
There's one from Mithilesh Malani. They ask Adrian how they can contact him or the team, especially for training purposes and carbon credits. So I think he touched upon it, but Adrian, you can take the question. How can someone contact you or your team, especially for the training purposes and carbon credit discussion?
So directly through our website, so you have a contact form. You fill the form, so your name, email address, quick message to explain what you are expecting from us, and we'll contact you back and see what we can do together.
Excellent. I also wanted to double down or probe a little bit further on what you mentioned to Anant on individuals buying carbon credits. Do you see more of it happening in a country like India? Maybe gifting, buying something out for someone's birthday. Is that something that's possible? Or do you see interest there?
So I mean, we see a lot of interest for credits from India, from the institutional buyers, and we start seeing some individuals who want to purchase credits from India. So we've done a couple of small sales, but yeah, that's something new, that's something happening, and it's really, I mean, we are really glad to see that.
Because India is a very big gifting nation, so if carbon removal can go into gifting, it will be really good. And I really like what folks have built at Thanks a Ton, carbon removal gifting platform. So that was
Mhm.
nice. One question that I had while listening to you, I've moved back from the tech world, what KK is into, or now what KK is into from and to, around 7.5 years back into soil and agriculture and all. So my question is, what are the observed benefits of biochar in agriculture in Circonomy's operating regions? What is something that the team has seen or the farmers have seen, the benefits of adding biochar in soil?
So, I mean, that's, I guess that's really about first stopping the crop brings, right? So all this pollution that's happening, that's the first immediate effect that you can see. So in a couple of weeks or months, uh, when after the harvest of the cotton, I mean, some plants will be uproots, and instead of burning that, it will be bring to Circonomy site and will produce biochar. So it's an immediate effect. So not the really. I mean, that's the first effect. Then, when you add that, and you have the inoculation that happen, and you add that into your soil, you have a system that is a bit more resilient because you have the water holding capacity of the biochar that's uh, come into play. You can reduce the volume of fertilizers that you are using, right? Because it's really slowly releasing the nutrients that the biochar store. And after a couple of, I mean, at the next harvesting period, I don't have values, but if you take pictures before and after the previous harvest on the next one, you really see the difference. So either in the number of fruits that you can have, the size of the plants, all those things.
Any teams or any work within Circonomy around the agricultural field trials, or are you limited to carbon
No,
removal from?
we have some of our partners who have set up a field test to really measure the exact impact of what has been done. Happy to share the contacts after the call with you, so you can really discuss with them. But that's not. That would be too complex for us at this stage to monitor this thing on all our sites. So we leave that to our partners. We leave that to a research institution who really have the skills to do that
Wonderful.
and to share. Yeah.
There's
Tejas,
someone that
Tejas,
has, yeah,
Tejas,
Virupaksha
can
Gauda
I?
Patil. Yes,
Yeah,
please go ahead, Patilji.
yeah. We are working with Circonomy. KK has visited my village couple of
Oh,
times
wonderful.
to train us. And I'll answer one of the questions asked by Anant regarding how many burns you need,
Oh,
before you
nice.
become an expert. I also first experience, the first time I also turned everything into ash. So maybe I think it doesn't need too many burns, maybe a couple of times. And KK is too good at training farmers. And I think in one or two, after KK trained us, like maybe one or two times, it's just the way we put the feedstock into the fire.
Yeah.
And another question was asked by you, I think, in the beginning, lighting from top.
Yeah.
Right, it's just put a stack just to start the burning
Making.
process. It's
Hmm.
not like top down approach of
Yeah.
Anderson of US, it's not
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
that.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
we're not stacking the whole biomass in one
Make.
go and
Hmm.
fire from top, then that becomes top lit burning.
Hmm. Hmm. So the
And stack,
initiation is easier or better when you do it
yeah,
as a
it's
small stack inside and
yeah,
then
yeah,
go through
yeah,
the usual quantity. Okay.
yeah. You put some
Makes sense.
straw so that the burning process starts immediately.
Wonderful.
That's the reason why we put stack. And regarding the agricultural side, I am an agriculture faculty, retired faculty. I run a
One.
FPO in my village, and
Oh.
we have been doing some farm trials, and we are I think KK knows
Hmm.
all about it. And what we are doing is we are developing proprietary biochar blends.
Hmm.
Like,
Hmm.
Anant asked how much ratio, 50-50 vermicompost, etc.
Yeah.
So most of the biochar producers are happy producing biochar, but what next? How it will help farmers?
Yep.
Precisely what the question that
Yep.
you asked. To
Yep.
answer that, I think we have been conducting field trials
Mm-hmm.
through some funding from Government of Karnataka. We are we have laid out, we have given biochar blends, these proprietary biochar blends to different crops in different parts of Karnataka. I operate in Yadgiri district of Karnataka.
Mm-hmm.
And we are producing biochar blends to meet the specific needs of a particular soil and ecosystem and a
Mm.
crop. It's not
Mm.
one size fits all. There is
Makes
no
sense.
one biochar blend that fits every crop, and there's no
Mm.
formula like that. And
Mm.
not too many people are working on this issue, but we
Mm.
are aggressively pursuing this aspect because unless we find a market for biochar blends, this sector is not going to grow.
True. True.
So we have given out trials in crops like arecanut, coffee, cotton, maize, red gram. Now we are still in the process of preparing blends for different crops like pomegranate, chilies, grapes, dragon fruit. Name a crop we want to develop a biochar blend to suit that crop's nutrient requirements as well as utilize the biochar in whatever ratio that we decide to incorporate into, keeping the cost factor in mind because farmers need to pay for it. These products need to be affordable. biochar itself is an expensive thing, and vermicompost is another expensive item. So I don't think we'll be able to position these blends unless we are cost conscious in developing our technologies. So in collaboration with University of Agricultural Sciences, Raichur, we are taking all measures to develop R&D support for what I mean. Everybody says it helps crops, it increases. Where is the proof? And university, I think we are assigning the research topics to some of PhD students in the university, and so we have good lab facilities in the university headquarters. We analyze all our samples, the biochar blends for their composition and how would they impact, and a lot of work we are doing, but nothing as of now. But initial results in my own village, on my own farm, I am trying all these products. In fact, I started producing biochar for my personal use, and now I think when farmers want it, I think we need to help them around. And since I run an FPO also, our objective is multifold. We want to help farmers to, get all the benefits of this whole process of converting waste into wealth. So we're
Makes
now
sense.
trying to scale it up, and we're looking for some funds for scaling up the whole process. Unless we operate at
If
a
I may
scale, I don't.
ask, Patilji, how have you financed it so far from
I
your
think
side? I don't intend to take more time outside Adrian, but I'm very curious.
yeah, it is
Uh,
it's a self-financed project,
okay.
and I got some funding support from government of Karnataka for for different for kontikis and
Makes sense.
other things for converting this
So
biochar.
if I may ask this way, since you have shared a lot of vision around the region and crops and everything, what are you aiming for? How much have you produced so far, and how much do you think there's still potential is to work with
Potential,
technology
potential,
that
potential is quite huge. Since I am an individual farmer, I'm operating as a farmer now, as an artisan pro. But we want to rope in FPO a little later
hmm,
when we
hmm,
are able to handle. And now we're looking at funds to scale up through
hmm,
mechanization. That was one major problem
makes sense.
that we faced. Unless we have mechanization built into this biochar production process, we will not go too far because it's very, very tough to collect biomass.
Yeah.
And at village level, resources are not there, season is not favorable. So many issues, so many problems. KQ
And
knows most of our
what's your
problems. So uh,
primary feedstock, Patilji?
it is cotton stock.
Cotton stock. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So we are working. I think we are doing fine, but like slow and steady, like Circonomy. We are growing with them.
Wonderful.
So I think most important is you and Anant, you are raising we need to pursue the lighter part of product post biochar production. What next? That's the most crucial thing, and we are doing that, and we are looking for any partners to fund, maybe CSR funds, Shaker Foundation, or maybe I don't know what other options. Anant, I don't know how far he'll be happy to do this, but we
Well,
are
yeah, I
getting
mean,
some
I'll
fund.
I'll cut that short that this is not a
Yeah,
fundraising call.
I know.
But
I'm
yeah,
not. I'm no, no,
yeah,
no. This is not for fundraising.
yeah,
I'm
yeah. I
also
mean, I'm
telling
just
you that
kidding.
we have
Yeah.
raised a lot of funds from the government of Karnataka for
Yeah.
doing all this mechanization and all.
Hmm, hmm, hmm.
So
So, I
so
mean, it's a
maybe
very, very big challenge, availability of not just skill, but as Adrian said, the willingness to learn how to burn the
yes,
labor is a big challenge. It's becoming a bigger challenge by the day. So I understand the mechanization part. And on that note, I mean, I also had a follow-up question for Adrian that he's also looking at industrial. So we wanted to ask what is the fundamental difference, if any, observed between biochar made in a kontiki versus biochar made in a system which isn't ever coming in contact with the fire, which becomes retort and uh, more and more industrial systems. Any insights there, Adrien?
Yes, no, certainly there is a lot of difference in see, we are getting 75, he said 75%. The 25% were still polluting. There are lots of objection to this technology from within the group of, biochar producers. And so they say 25% methane emission, carbon dioxide emission, 25% allowance is made for, this is what I am given to understand from KK, that why we are not getting 100% credit, carbon credit. It's because we are still polluting to some extent. We are not avoiding pollution completely. So in a closed system, in a retort or a pyrolyzer, we are totally controlling. There is no fumes or gases are let out of the system. So to that an extent, the quality is good. And I've been
Thank you,
talking to
Patel.
KK about.
I think you have a lot of on-ground experience working with the provider. I really hope to maybe have you back sometime, especially to talk about the blends that you're creating as much as you can share, if that is okay. And maybe I'll take some
No.
time away to
As
Adrian
I said,
just to answer.
Tejas, as I said, it's a proprietary. We want to patent and maybe the
Oh,
industry.
wonderful. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Then it's a good shout out for all the investors out there that might be listening to it. Maybe a good matching. Wonderful. Thank you, Padilji. Really
Right,
nice
sir.
having you here. Really nice
Thank
to hear the other side of the story as well, because we bring project, not many implementers, but a lot of, so far, at least in this biochar series, we have brought in people and founders of biochar carbon removal companies. It's good to hear one of the customers live here and sharing their experiences. So that was good. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Tejas.
Adrian, yeah, if it is not too late, I just wanted to really put that question out. What is the fundamental difference you observe in biochars made between a very good kontiki quenched immediately after and a biochar that has not come in contact with the fire at all?
I guess the question has already been well answered, but I would say from our perspective, it's really about the consistency of the production. In a kontiki, you can have if you have a very skilled operators, you follow the process, and so on, you can have a very good carbon content, right, in your biochar, good biochar quality, almost as good as a industrial grade biochar. But the consistency of your biochar may varies, from one batch to another and over time, depending on the quality of your feedstock. When you industrialize the process, you can guarantee that the biochar quality is really constant over time. So that's really one key parameter. When you want specific characteristic of your biochar, and when you want to work with big tech companies for the carbon removal aspect, because they really want to make sure that you have something that truly removes the exact amount of carbon removal that you send to them. Second aspect, when you invest into an industrial facility, relying only on the sale of the carbon credit for some projects, the sale of the biochar is not enough. So you need to be able to monetize other byproduct types, as a bio oil, any heat or electricity generation, wood vinegar, and so on. So that's really also a very important aspect when you develop an industrial project. It's not just about the biochar and carbon credit, but it's really about all of the byproducts you can have.
Makes sense. Makes sense. I was going to ask at some point industrial or artisanal, but I think you answered that question very beautifully, saying we offer a portfolio of things. So that's not a debate anymore, at least in Circonomy. Wonderful. Anand, any last questions?
Just one last question. I forgot to ask the documentation challenge. What we have, Adrian, what we are seeing is it's a headache to document on the field, to get our partners or agents or, representatives. And with your dMRV, are you trying to automate that process through pictures and, videos and try to get some intelligence from that?
Yeah, exactly. And so right now the workflows that I've done, it's really for one batch what is happening. But we consolidate the data per site, per partners, per feedstock, and so on. So we can really extract a lot of data. And I mean, that's really about the power of data. Everything is there in the system now. It's how we highlight the key important aspect, how we can build a nice report from that. And the platform now is expanding to really supporting a new project developers in going through the certification, right? Writing the PDD, all supporting documentation that you need when you have to do your on-site audit with the third-party verifier. So with the platform really now expand in that direction to facilitate, to streamline this project, this process, sorry.
Yeah, I can't get people to write, man. Any entry is a big challenge also, and with the language issue in India, the multiple languages. So anything that can be done pictorially or through a video, it goes leaps and bounds. It
Yeah.
captures.
So I mean the dMRV. So I've done the demo in English, but we have 13 different languages available. 8 of them, if I'm not mistaken, from India. So that's really enabled to use the system in really different states and location. That's the first step that we can do.
Okay, I think we're almost out of time, Tejas. So, Adrian, thank you so much. Tejas, I'll let you close the session.
Wonderful. Yeah, Adrian, thanks a lot for really taking us through the whole journey and the tech platforms and how things happen here. I think there's a lot of people really willing to. I see one other question from Rupesh Patrikar. We have a farmer producer company. We want to make biochar and sell or making partner, something like that. So I think they can get in touch with your team from Circonomy's website, as you already mentioned. And it's really amazing to see that you have already scaled to 6 states and focusing on biochars. And I really like the model where you're going with a local, dedicated regenerative ag or agri partner, and building the whole ecosystem stronger and slow but strong by the day. It's amazing. I met KK, or I spoke with KK 3 years back, and after that, it's nice to bring in all the updates of Circonomy. We wish you all the best, and we would love to have KK hopefully sometime soon on the platform to maybe share his side of the learnings. And for everyone that's watching, Adrian, thanks a lot. You can subscribe to him. Any closing thoughts, Adrian?
Yeah, I mean, no, just wanted to say thanks to both of you, Tejas and Anant. It's really great to be able to have this opportunity and to highlight. I mean, from where we're coming from, what we are building, and I mean, feel free to share my contacts to anyone who contact you. Happy to be able to connect with people who are in the webinar and try to see if there is any opportunity coming with new projects.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
you definitely want to do it in the vernacular as well in Hindi ahead. If one of your India team members can spare their time,
Yeah.
maybe a month or two down the road, do the same
Sure.
thing that we did in Hindi as well, so we can, include more audiences that might be interested in this.
Yeah,
And
that's a great idea. We can do that.
yep, that'll be great. Thank you again. Thanks for your time.
Thank you very much. Have a good
Wonderful.
evening.
Thank you, Adrian. Thanks all for joining. We'll meet again one other Saturday with one other wonderful stakeholder company that's working in biochar. Thanks, Adrian. Thanks, Circonomy team.